Good morning, everyone. We are going to be following up with our first class where we discussed everything about foundations in international trade. And we spoke about all that you need to know about exporting and importing. If you missed that class, you can watch it on YouTube. Is right there on YouTube. So in this class, we are still continuing in our week 1 lecture for your foundations in international trade. So for this class, we are going to be discussing commodities overview in Nigeria and West Africa. Commodities overview in Nigeria and West Africa. So pay attention. So commodities in Nigeria, I think in the last class too, I mentioned this. Commodities can be classified into agricultural commodities, there's metals, livestock, and meat, and there's forest products. Under the agricultural commodities, you have commodities like seasoned seeds, cocoa beans, cotton, hibiscus flower, shea nuts, shea butter, cocoa butter, and others. Under the metals, we have the precious metals, we have the metal ores, that we have liquid metals also in Nigeria that you can export to other countries around the world. We have the livestock and meat, we have forest products, which is the wood logs and charcoal and others. So we are going to be breaking it down in Nigeria, the various geographical regions that we have in Nigeria and the commodities that are prevalent in that area. So we are doing this so that should in case when you get your export contract, when you see maybe a contract anywhere and maybe there's a request for a particular commodity, so you won't have any excuse to say that you don't know that the commodity can be gotten from this part of the world or can be gotten from Nigeria or from West Africa. So that's actually the reason why we added West Africa categories of commodities according to the countries and their commodities also to this class, so that you can use that to learn all the commodities that we can get around here, that you can supply, that you can export to other countries. Now, for these commodities, it's not like it's a must that you have to export them. Don't forget, like we spoke about in our entry point to international trade, the entry point into the exporting business, one of the categories you can really sit with or you can work with is you being a commodities merchant or broker. And if you're a commodities merchant or broker, it's not a must, or it's not a 100% must that you have to export. So you can also supply locally. You can supply to factories around here. You can supply to companies. You can supply to farms. You can supply to feed mills. So you can do your own local business around. Now, for some of us, we are always looking at, okay, I want to export, I want to send my product or maybe this commodity or my farm produce to India, to Vietnam, to the US, to the UK. It might not necessarily be that far distance that you have to cover. So one of the reasons why we added West Africa commodities into these classes, that so that we can look at it and say that, okay, can I move my commodity or export my commodity from Nigeria, maybe to Niger, maybe to Benin Republic, to Ghana, to countries that are very close to us, to countries that, they are just in our neighborhood, that even to export commodities there, we can still move the products by road, not necessarily by ship. So all these are kind of like in the picture, and that's why we expanded the class curriculum. So the first geographical area for Nigeria, that's southwest, the southwestern part of Nigeria. So in southwestern part of Nigeria, you can get cocoa, you can get oil palm, you can get dried vegetables, you can get livestock, you can get quarry stones. So cocoa is abundant in Osun State, in Ondo State, in Ekiti. You also have cocoa bean there. Oil palm is also very abundant around here. You have dried vegetables, there's livestock, there's quarry and dimension stones. In South-South, you have fish, you have lead, you have manganese, there's crude oil, there's natural gas in South-South. In Southeast, we have oil palm, we have metals like lead, like limestone. We also have coal. We have coal. In Enugu, a lot of coal. We have dried vegetables coming out of southeastern part of the country also. In Northwest, we have rice, we have groundnuts, we have cattle, we have leather, we have copper in Northwest. In North Central, we have rice, we have soybeans, we have exotic crop. Now, these commodities listed for each region is not limited. It doesn't mean these are the only commodities that come out of these regions. These are just the ones that we listed up for this class. So you can actually get more than these commodities by the time you are doing your research, by the time you are traveling the area and, you know, seeing things for yourself. Because one of the reasons for commodities overview is so that by the time you're also traveling, getting this information directly by yourself, you know what to look out for and what to expect. So in Northeast, we have cattle, we have sugarcane, there's zinc, there's manganese also. In around North Central and Northeast too, you have lithium also, and copper ore too is in Northeast. Then commodities in West Africa, in West African countries. What are the commodities that you can actually see in this country that you can actually see around? Cashew nuts in Benin. In Benin Republic, cashew nuts is one of their major exports, and you get more processed cashew nuts in Benin Republic than in Nigeria. Yes, you get more cashew nuts in Benin Republic than in Nigeria. In Southwest, one of the commodities also that is not mentioned here is cashew nuts. There's a lot of cashew nuts coming from Ogbomoso in Oyo State and Kogi State. These cashew nuts are not processed. That's RCN, the raw cashew nuts. So they are just exported in the raw form and not processed. So, but when you are looking for processed cashew nuts, there are other countries in Africa, which I'm going to highlight them so that we can know them. So it's not a must that for a particular commodity that you are looking at exporting, that you move that commodity from Nigeria. Like for instance, maybe you need a kind of processed cashew nuts and you can get it in Benin Republic. Or maybe you need cotton seed, which is abundant in Benin. You can, that doesn't stop you because you are in Nigeria. You can go to Benin, acquire the commodities, package them, and use the Benin port. Use the port over there to, to ship the product to your importer. The only thing is you have to confirm from the importer to know that he wouldn't mind the origin of the commodity. So if he's saying that he doesn't mind the commodity coming from Benin, you just take your certificate of origin from there and send it with the other documents to the importer. So in Benin, we have cotton seed, anything that has to do with cotton, you get it in Benin. There's groundnut, there's cassava, there's maize, and there's cattle. In Burkina Faso, we have gold, we have cotton, we have sesame seeds, we have zinc, we have phosphate rock, we have livestock. In Cape Verde, we have shoes, we have garments, fish, hides. So this just reinforces the history we've always read that Africa, West Africa, Nigeria is blessed with a lot of raw material, a lot of resources, a lot of commodities, that if our export is well managed, if our international trade segments, if that part of our industries are well managed, well cultivated by our leaders or our government, our economy is going to be #1 in the world. So for Cote d'Ivoire, we have cocoa, we have coconuts, there's cashew nuts, there's rubber, and there's cocoa butter. Gambia, we have groundnuts, we have fish, we have cashew nuts, we have mango, we have vegetables, we have sesame seeds. Ghana, we have gold, we have cotton, we have wheat, we have uranium, we have maize. So, like I said, for all these countries, you should not limit yourself to just Nigeria alone. You can always buy, trade. Like for instance, if you are entering the business as a commodities merchant and broker, you living in Nigeria doesn't mean you can't travel to Ghana to trade maize, or you can't travel to Cote d'Ivoire, Gambia. Most of these countries you can go by road. It's not a must you fly into them. Like I used to travel to Benin Republic to buy cotton. I used to travel to Cameroon to load wood logs. So we are still going deep into wood logs later in this class. To buy wood logs, to export to ship to Vietnam. And from there, we do our shipment direct. So you are not restricted and you are not limited to the, to the boundaries of Nigeria alone. Even if you are producing, like you are doing a local production of your own product, you are still not confined or limited to Nigeria alone. So Ghana has a lot of gold. You can get gold from Ghana, cotton, wheat, uranium, and maize. Now, Guinea has bauxite, which means aluminium. You get it in Guinea. They have iron, they have gold, they have diamond, they have coffee, there's peanuts, fish, and cotton. Guinea-Bissau, they have cashew nuts, they have peanuts, they have palm kernels, they have fish, they have shrimps. Liberia has rubber, iron ore, and gold. So now, for those of us who would trade cashew nuts, for instance, one of the things you might want to do is to look at when is the trade season? When does the trade season start for cashew nuts in other countries? In other countries in West Africa, when does their trade season start? So if Benin's trade season is in January and it ends by maybe February, then maybe for Gambia, for instance, or Cote d'Ivoire, their own trade season starts in May. And for Guinea-Bissau, their own trade season starts in maybe in November. So once you have all this information, it will help you in how you take up export contracts and how you implement them. So maybe right now, Nigeria, currently, we are not in the trade season for cashew nuts. We are still waiting for the cashew to fruit very well, for them to start falling and all that. So we start picking, drying, and selling, exporting. It doesn't mean some countries in Africa have not started the trade. For some, they have started trading already. They are already selling. So if you are looking at taking an export contract, you might want to export from that country and not Nigeria, except if the importer is telling you that I want an origin, or my specification, the origin has to be Nigeria from the specification the importer is giving, except that. But if not, then why not consider other countries in your trade? So in Mali, we have gold, we have cotton, we have iron, we have ivory. Mauritania has coconuts. Coconut can be used for activated charcoal also, and it's one of the most expensive or very expensive kind of charcoal. as you can have when you have the coconut activated charcoal. We also have palm kernel. The back of those kernel is also used in making activated charcoal, but not as expensive as coconut activated charcoal. So we have cashew nuts there, there's manganese, there's iron ore, there's fish, and there's gold. In Niger, they have uranium ore, there's livestock, there's cowpeas, there's onions, gold, and beans in Niger. Senegal has rice, groundnut, fish, phosphate, cotton. Sierra Leone has rice, diamond, cocoa, coffee, fish. Togo has cassava, sorghum, cocoa, coffee, cotton, and millet. There's a conference. There's a conference of international trade and export that usually happen in Togo every year. It's very easy to attend and it's not expensive at all. When they started, it was usually free. And so, like Togo, for instance, is a country that you can just travel to attend, get to know other exporters in that region, in that country, connect with people that can help you in your international trade endeavors. Even if you're not exporting the commodities around you, around your community or in your state, at least, even if you are exporting your own local product, like product that you are producing, events like that will still help you in connecting and making headway into global markets to expand your brand and help you in raising foreign exchange. So important countries to note are Cameroon. Cameroon has a lot of wood, a lot of logs. So I've been to Cameroon several times to fall wood, to fall logs that are exported to other countries like Vietnam, like Bangladesh. So now in Cameroon, we also have wood logs in Nigeria, in Shagam. Yes, that's where they bring all the wood logs to sell in Shagam. So, but you can't get everything like you get in Cameroon. So the wood industry or the wood falling of wood, trading of wood is more organized in Cameroon than in Nigeria. So we have the African teak wood, we have the azobe, we have beech, we have belinga, we have black limber, we have bobinga, we have cedrela, we have amburana, there's dabima, there's dushi, there's ebony, there's ikop, there's eucalyptus, there's garapa, there's bellywood, there's iroko, and there's ironwood logs also. Yeah, mahogany, makore, meranti, mabao, moabi, movinki, okan. Okan is a very popular wood. Also, there's paddock, poplar, rose. Those also are very popular wood. There's sapele, there's tali, teak, and zebra wood also. Those are very popular. So these wood logs are usually bought in CBM, so according to the specification that your importer is giving you, cubic meter, they'll fall it. According to what your importer wants, you might load it up that way without sounding it or cutting it into pieces or sizes and all that. But when it gets there, they'll use it for whatever they want to use it for. So now, if you understand all these commodities and the different countries they come from, it will also help you to know the kind of factories, the kind of companies, the kind of people to reach out to that you can supply these woods, or that you can supply this commodity or this product from this country or from that country, so that when you are sending out your offer letters, they will understand you better and they can give you an export contract. They can give you a better export contract because you have good knowledge of what you are talking about. So to help you in sourcing for buyers for your export in Tanzania. Tanzania is like the home of processed cashew nuts. In Nigeria or also other countries, we have like Mozambique too. They are into processed cashew nuts. Processed cashew nuts in Tanzania, you have different codes, different categories. The most popular ones are the W240 and W320. Those are the very, very popular processed cashew nuts. The other ones are W210, W80, and then you have all these other ones like WSS, WD, WLP, SP, SKBB. So all they just mean is how you split. The splitting, because after processing, not all the cashew nuts will come out as a whole. Some would have broken into pieces. Now all these little pieces, they don't throw it away. They just give every one of them a code. So like the W320, 240, which are the most popular, there's a way they come out so that it's big, so that it comes out as a whole. But for all the other ones that are already pieces, because there's a lot of money that goes into processing, so they can't just throw away the nuts or whatever just because it came out in pieces or in ruins. So they still have to pick it up, pack it, and bag it, and still sell it or still supply it to people who want it or who want to buy it. So the business of commodities trading, know your commodity. Which commodity do you want to focus on? So I advise you that you focus on one or two commodities, at most two commodities. And if you like, you can take all the commodities, but it's always good that you focus on just a few. Then get a supply contract. This supply contract could be locally, could be on exports, which is international contract. So get yourself a contract, mix with the right people, go to companies, meet with the procurement managers, procurement officers, meet with warehouse managers, other merchants, that need the commodities that you can supply. So know the right market or commodities merchant. Just like I said previously, knowing the right commodities merchant is also key, because as a merchant, they're also searching for suppliers and they can easily connect you to the right buyer for your commodity. Then know the right market that is, just like we just saw, in all the regions, all those regions that we were mentioning in Nigeria, for instance, like Southwest, South, Southeast, and all that, have different states in them. And then apart from all these states, there are different markets in each state. So all these markets in the regions, it's good that you familiarize yourself with it, because you don't know when you have to travel down there, when you have to meet with people there that can help you get the commodity that you need. Because sometimes you know that this commodity you are searching for is planted, or they have it in so place, but it won't be in the public market. So you need those people that can help you to access it, to get the exact specification. So you have to be able to finance your contract, the pre-shipment financing. You have to be able to finance what you have. If the contract has to cost maybe $100,000 for you to buy the commodities, put them together, pack them for export, or more or less, you have to be able to get the money and everything that is needed for you to do that. Then after which you have to also be able to execute the contract. Okay, you have the money. When are you going to the market to start purchasing, to buy and all that? You have to get all this done, and then you have to get paid. You have to know how to get paid for your contract after exporting, after you have the shipping documents, the bill of lading and all that. So what did you and the you and the importer, what did you guys agree on? So what you guys agree on will go a long way. So know your commodity. Maize, for instance, I just used maize in this example, like prevalent market for maize. If someone is asking you that, oh, why not supply us maize? You already know that maize is prevalent in, if you are buying it from Nigeria, you know where you can get maize. You can get maize from the south, you can get it from the north. In the south, you can get it in Oyo, in Ogun, in Osun, in Benue. In the north, you can get it in Kaduna, in Niger, in Kano, you know. And the price, okay, this price was about 3 months ago. It was the price for about 3 months ago when it was like 170, 180,000 naira per ton. Not now. I know the price has increased in the market. So you have an idea of what the commodity is all about. So the pricing for your commodity, you know that for you to give the buyer, for you to be able to price, to give them a price or to give them a quote, you have to put in the commodity price. After you've made calls to all these markets that I say you should familiarize yourself with in different regions of the country, and you get that price. Maybe you've called someone in Kano, you called someone in Kaduna, then you call someone in Osun State and in Oyo State, and they give you prices. You compare and contrast. You look at, okay, let me settle with maybe 200,000 naira, 180,000 naira per ton. Then you consider the transport and logistics that is going to go into loading that goods over there, taking it to the point where you have to supply it to maybe the company or the warehouse or the factory, and every other cost involved. Local government, loading, the people that will bring it out of the truck and all that. Then maybe you met some touts on the way, on the road, you have to settle them, you have to give them. So at the end of the day, you might have like maybe 250,000, maybe 300,000 parts. But my advice is don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't give a price that you now be the one using your money, or that will make you to inadvertently make losses in whatever that you are now doing. So after you've given the buyer the contract or the quotation, then you can't go back to the buyer to tell him that the price has been increased, or the price, or maybe you miscalculated. So you still have to get it done, because you also be looking at, okay, let me do this, let me complete at least, so that the transaction will be smooth. Then we can get more supply contracts and all that. So it will affect you in the long run. So you have to patiently do your calculation on the pricing and make sure that you are not going to make losses, that your profit margin is high, and you are going to be making good profit from what you are doing. So familiarize yourself with the following: letter of intent, LOI, LPO, local purchase order, RFQ, request for quote, SEO, soft corporate offers, BD, bank guarantee. Okay, so let me do a rundown through these. What we have one by one. So LOI, the LOI is letter of intent. Usually, when you have someone sending you a message or an email saying they need a commodity, or they want this, they want you to supply them with this, or export also commodity to them. One way you can save yourself time and save between maybe like many prospective buyers, to sieve out the unserious one from the serious one. One way you can do it is to request for a letter of intent from them. So they have to send you a letter of intent. They can attach it to their email and send it to you. So it will carry their letterhead, the letterhead of their company, an introduction to their company, the commodity they want to buy from you. Then they will put in the specification of that commodity, the whole specification. Then they will let you know the quantity they need, the origin they want it from. Then also they will state how they intend to pay. They will state how they intend to pay for that commodity. So when you have that kind of letter of intent, you can now respond to it to say that, okay, for your specification, this is how much I can supply, or this is how much I can export or sell to you. Then both of you can now negotiate on the prices. And if you come to an agreeable term, you issue them an invoice, like an invoice they have to pay for the quote that you've given them. So LPO, we have an LPO. The LPO means local purchase order. If you have an LPO, what it stands for is like an obligation from a company or from an organization, giving you a request order that they want you to supply them this commodity, and this is how much they are going to be paying, and they are also going to state the number of days or the time frame when you will receive your payment. It will be like it will be on the letterhead of the company with their details and all that, duly stamped and signed by maybe the purchase officer or the CEO or any of the directors of the company. So that kind of purchase order is not bankable. That is, you can't take it to the bank. It's not a legal tender that you can send to the bank and you get money for. But it's a contractual obligation that, should in case maybe anything happens later, you can use to you can present for arbitration. So now we have RFQ. RFQ stands for request for quotes. Request for quotes is usually when your buyer needs a commodity but they don't know the price, or maybe they are looking for different suppliers or different exporters whose pricing will be good that they can settle with. So they request for quote for that commodity. Instead of sending a letter of intent, they just publicize a request for quote. So different people will come with their own different quotes. So they will settle for someone among them. SCO means soft corporate offers. The soft corporate offers is just the same thing as the offer letter that I've been talking about. So the soft corporate offer is just like a guide, like a well-structured offer letter talking about the commodity you want to export or the commodity that you want to supply. So usually it's used for international trade. You send it out to prospective buyers overseas or in other countries that you want to export to. So they will see everything about your commodity, the specification, the price you want to sell, the minimum quantity they can order, the maximum quantity that you can supply in a month, in a week, in a day, in a quarter. Maybe it's 2 containers, maybe it's 5 containers. Maybe the minimum they can order is 1 container, 140 feet or 120 feet or 540 feet. You put everything in your soft corporate offers and they can look into it and let you know if they will be willing to do business with you or not. So BG stands for bank guarantee. The bank guarantee, like is a legal note that comes from the bank, assuring you that the money stated on the note is already in the bank, is already in the account. So if you make your supply with the instruction on which the note was made, you can present the guarantee to the bank and get your money out without waiting for the importer or the buyer. So your supply contracts and getting paid. Now, sourcing supply contract. Okay, sourcing supply contract is very easy. You can get supply contracts from companies, from factories around. Just go to their companies. You can send them an email. You can even just advertise and they will reach out to you because they're also looking for suppliers that can supply them the commodity that they need, because most of these companies and factories, they they use the commodity for maybe feedstock or maybe for their farm to make feed. So they are always in need of suppliers. They are always in demand of the commodity. So you can also source supply contracts from commodities merchants around. You can source from exporters, from importers, the factories and companies in your local environment, in your local community, and your local area. Yes, in a week, you can do a billion naira purchase order. Yes, if you know what you are doing, if you have the capacity, if you have like investors, if you have maybe some group of companies backing you up, if you have banks who are already giving you a nod or a go ahead to raise supply contracts, you know, so you can get all these done in a week, within 1 week. So getting paid is also easy, just that for your local purchase order, most times the payment might not come immediately. So let's say maybe you made the supply today, your payment can hit your bank tomorrow or in 2 days, in 48 hours, depending on the company or factory that you are making the supply to. So financing your supply contract for your commodity, the contracts that you have, you can get funds from it. You can get money from it by making sure that, okay, you get a local purchase order that you can present to friends or to family or to investors to let them know that you have this supply and you want to make the supply, and so time is when the payment is going to be out. So it's a win-win situation to let them know that once the company you are supplying pays you, this is the share or this is the percentage of the revenue that you are going to be paying out to them. So you can also collect an advance check instead of just relying on the local purchase order alone, because once you have this company who wants you to supply them, you make sure that there's a written contract between both of you. The written contract will be different from the local purchase order. So you have the local purchase order, so you can request for an advance check. You can request for a bank guarantee, and you can also request for advance payments, whereby maybe they pay you 20%, 30%, then they give a bank guarantee for the remaining 70%. Or maybe they pay you some percentage and they give you an advance check for the balance. So it depends on how you want it or what you can play with. But these are some of the things that you can put into place that will make you to get paid by all means, so that you don't lose out. Because several times we've had issues whereby maybe someone made a supply, then they now have to start working or searching for the payment. So you don't have to spend that kind of time. So you can also raise with all these contract, local purchase order, if you have an advance check, you get bank guarantee from the buyer. Also, you can now walk into commercial banks to raise funds. You can now talk to other merchants. You can talk to B2B platforms or private investors to actually raise finance for the supply that you want to make or that you want to work with. So that's the end of the class for commodities overview in Nigeria and West Africa. So just like I explained in the previous class in Foundations in International Trade, our Zero to Export program is coming up in 2022, March 18th and 19th at Oriental Hotel. And it's so unique because once we are done with Zero to Exports, once you are done for your class, you go into Exporters Roundtable immediately, and it's free of charge, where you connect to industry leaders and people who are already controlling the export and international trade industries, and you can ask practical questions, proactive, get proactive solutions from them, which is the aim of the Exporters Roundtable. For Zero to Export, if you are attending the March 18th, you will be awarded the basic certificate in export management. It costs 60,000 naira. If you are also attending the March 19th, the advanced certificate in export management, it also costs 60,000 naira. But if you want to attend both 18th and 19th, just let us know so that we can factor in a discount for you so that you find it easy to register for it. So I hope you find this class very informative and educative. So what we are going to do is we are going to take questions on our WhatsApp group, on the EMP WhatsApp group. It's going to be open for questions, discussions, and answers. Thank you very much, and have a great day.